Twitter. Oh, look at that. Yeah, see if it comes through. There's normally a bit. Yeah? You only hear me. Good, right. There's our first problem. That one's gone. So you can hear yourself, Seth, yeah? For God's sake, Seth, new stream. Oh, why? I know. I don't know why this stuff happens. Right, you're all in Zencaster. All the mics are unmuted, so that's that. I'm looking in my audio mixer. I've got Mac OS audio capture on. That's fine. Mac's new stream. Mic aux on. I don't understand why it wouldn't be. Mac. I have it set up exactly however it was before when it worked, but fuck's sake. Yeah, my mic and aux is in and on. Let me try. What did I do last time? I just took the headphones off. That was the stupid fix before, wasn't it? Should I just try that? Hold on. I fucking hate this system. One sec. Hold on. Okay. Sound settings. Input is that. Output is MacBook Pro. Right, what about now?
Check 1 2 3. Check 1 2 3. Can you say something, Zach?
Yeah, but it's not working.
Yeah, there's a lag though.
I do hear it on X now.
Do you?
Oh, I think it did work.
Look at that.
It was my cynicism.
There's something weird with the setup. I need some professional help. But anyway, we got it working. It's just piping through my speakers and into the mic, which is not ideal, but it's going to work. I need some professional help. But anyway, we got it working. It's just piping through my speakers and into the mic, which is not ideal, but it's going to work.
It's just
best.
Magic.
Yeah.
Speakers and into your mic.
It's exactly what it is.
It'll do.
Yeah, I'm afraid that's all we can manage here, unless someone like Jordan gives me a nudge and tells me why the hell it's not. This is what we had to do last time, wasn't it?
Yep.
Okay, well, we're
Figure it
here.
out before next time Kira's gone.
If you want, I can help, by the way. I'm pretty good savvy with this stuff.
Yeah?
And again, Seth should probably be better, because he had his own... Actually, wait, you guys have your own podcast. I don't know about any of
I
this.
don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I just have a magic touch when it comes to technology. You know, you rub the computer the right way.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I rub it the wrong way. I wind it up, and it just fucking doesn't work for whatever reason. But we're here. It's working. Welcome everyone. Nice to have you on, Zach. And
Pleasure to be here.
Normally Q does the little intro, but I'll leave that to Seth this week.
Yeah, I can get us kicked off. Hopefully this will work for everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Freedom Tech Friday. For those of you new here, I'll briefly explain what this is about and why we're here. We started Freedom Tech Friday as a weekly live and interactive show hosted on Max's incredible Ungovernable Misfits, X, Noster, YouTube feeds. We're trying it all. Necessarily, we also have technical issues most weeks, especially when the robot is gone. So forgive us this week, but we will continue to go live for 1 hour every Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. UK time. But you can also catch the feed, no lag, no audio issues, later on the Ungovernable Misfits podcast feed. So be sure, if today is too frustrating for you, jump into the recording later, and we'll have all of that fixed up in post. So on Freedom Tech Friday, we like to cover the latest news and trends for anything relating to Freedom Tech. That could be anything from Bitcoin, Monero, encrypted messengers, privacy tools, and everything in between. If there's a news item on the Freedom Tech space, tool, or topic that can help you take back some control in today's digital panopticon, we want to talk about it. My name is not Q&A. I am Seth for Privacy, VP at Cake Wallet. Normally, we are joined by Q&A, head of customer experience at Foundation, but he's off partying yet again, so go harass him about that. But instead, we have looped in Zach Herbert, CEO of Foundation. So we're excited to have him on today. Max, as usual, y'all will have to bear with. He is the one live streaming right now, so any audio issues, make sure you harass him about.
Yeah, come and abuse me.
He needs more of that. He needs more of that. Y'all are never abusive in the live chat or in the XMR chats or boosts, so he needs a little bit more harshness. But as always, live show, interactive. Our goal here is for you guys to steer us towards the topics you want us to cover. Send us the Freedom Tech related questions you want answered. The questions you ask in the live stream itself will get priority here, boosts and XMR chats as well. But we also have a massive backlog of questions that we're going to try to get through today, because I know y'all have asked some fantastic questions that we haven't left enough time for. So we're hoping to spend some more time on that today. Many ways you can get involved, all of which help us spread awareness on the show, including commenting, asking questions in the live chat, submitting topics or questions on X or Noster when we ask for them ahead of time, boosting the show on Fountain, sending questions and tips via XMR chat, or just simply sharing the show on X or Noster. So let's dive in. Max, Zach, how's it going, guys?
It's going well. I got 3 beverages in front of me.
Wow, 3?
Only 3. Yeah, I know.
How many have latte art? That's
one has latte art.
Oh,
I'm enjoying my green tea, my water with lemon and salt, and my cappuccino, and my pound cake here, and just living life.
Wow, that's the next step
Is the
up.
pound cake homemade?
No, it's not homemade, unfortunately.
Man,
I know.
no
It was in the
scone
chest
either?
freezer.
I feel like I don't know you anymore, Zach.
I have a 4.5-month-old infant. I don't have time to home make scones anymore. So.
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
How many beverages do you have in front of you, Max?
I have 1 black coffee and 1 water.
Okay.
And if my maths
down
is
my
correct,
coffee
that
already.
is 2.
It is. You win this round.
Yeah.
Yeah, only 1 today for me, but I already had my latte. Although I never got the latte art talent that Zach had, despite him showing me constantly his skills. I never absorbed it, so I'm still making peasant lattes.
Peasant lattes.
Nothing fancy. They taste fancy. But
Maybe we should do a Freedom Tech tutorial.
That'd be nice.
Live stream coffee latte art.
That'll be our next one. There you go.
Covering the
Live stream
stuff.
barista training.
Can we have some ads interspersed where it cuts to the? I'll put on an apron. You know.
Wow. Covering what really matters here. Well, we have a huge amount of questions from the last few shows, like an outrageous amount. When we first launched this, like me and Q were talking about it, and we're like, what if we don't get enough questions? What if nothing comes in and we don't know what to talk about, and then it's like just us on our bi-weekly show? But we've been blown away with the amount of participation that we've had. So as always, we give preference to anyone who's actually asking questions live. We answer those first if you're actually here with us. But we also have this huge backlog. So if we don't have any questions currently live, I'm on a tiny little screen. Can you guys see any in the live chat?
So I don't have any in the live chat. I do have a few that people dropped onto Nostr this morning. So maybe we can
Let's do
roll
them.
through those. And then
Yeah.
move to the backlog.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, I'll kick those off. I'm just going to read them in order. If either of y'all want to jump into them, fire away. But the first one is from Lake Surfer on Nostr. He said, I have a question about ARC used at the Riga conference. So for some background, at Bitcoin Honey Badger, the ARC team took over the point of sale systems and used ARC as the Lightning implementation for all of the merchants. So all the merchants were receiving Lightning via bolts, and that was getting swapped automatically, trustlessly, for ARC BTXOs behind the scenes. So Lake Surfer asked, virtual UTXOs, question mark, how does it work? What are the privacy concerns? Thank you guys for your time.
One thing I'll add on that, me and Q covered this on our last episode, and what he'd said is the whole time that they were there, everyone was just using and paying and whatever, and then at the end they're like, oh, by the way, that whole thing ran on ARC the whole time, which I thought was quite cool, because it's like his proof is in the pudding. We're actually doing something and everyone's using it and it worked, and then we just tell you at the end. That's kind of cool.
It's good secret stress testing. I definitely like the idea of like getting some real world proof behind the viability of ARC at pretty good scale. I think I saw it was 1,300 payments total made over the course of the conference, and 100% success rate. So,
wow, okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think what's counterintuitive as well is like when it was first announced, everyone assumed it was just going to be a Lightning alternative, and being able to kind of marry them up and improve the Lightning experience by using ARC on the back end is really cool. I think that's actually going to be the approach we take when we get Lightning into our Envoy app. It's going to be with ARC.
Ooh, I didn't know you were going to have Lightning.
We've wanted to for a while. Most people don't know our lead dev for Envoy, Igor, was on the original Breeze team. And
Okay.
he loves Lightning, and he's been wanting to do it for a while. We've just had a lot of, other things distracting us. But we're also, we care a lot about the user experience, and we haven't found a user experience that we were satisfied with Lightning so far. And so Igor has been really talking about ARC way before this this demo and everything that they did. And so I'm excited to see that it worked. I think it makes it super feasible for companies to throw it into mobile apps and just have a much more streamlined user experience.
Yeah, quick note before I'll also answer. Max, people are saying that I'm very quiet. I'm going to bump my gain as best I can.
Yes.
But if there's any adjustment you have on your end for Zach and I, just the way the audio is
I've been switching. I've been going up and down on the volume because Zach is about double the volume that you are. So I've just been manually doing it. So maybe if you go slightly up and Zach goes slightly down, and then I can just keep it consistent with my speakers. What a ridiculous system that we have here. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Listen, the quality of the content is going to be very good. It is just, unfortunately, that the way it's delivered today is going to be very poor. And I apologize. I take full responsibility for that.
And if your ears can't handle this, remember, the recording will be perfect. So we do have the recording all separate from the live stream. So
exactly.
Don't worry about that.
I'll
listeners.
just sit a little further back from the mic. This is probably better. Probably more balanced now.
I'll just put my mic down my throat. We'll try this.
Oh, kinky. All right.
No video on this stream, guys.
Like a seagull.
On that note.
Don't talk about those. I don't like those things.
Yeah.
Seagulls? Seagull phobia?
When I was 4, one landed on my head and stole the bagel out of my hand on the beach.
Yeah.
It's gone.
They do that. Yeah. They steal fish and chips in the UK.
Yeah, it's my arch nemesis is the seagull.
Here we go. This is what all of you have joined the show for. So
yes.
The fear of seagulls is called laridophobia.
Ooh.
We're learning more about Zach every day.
I just learned something about myself every day and now have a label for my phobia.
A laridophobic. There you go. I'm definitely butchering that pronunciation, but we'll hang it.
All right, Seth, why don't you answer this question, because I feel like you're more equipped to answer than both of us. No offense, Max.
None taken, mate.
No, I mean, I think y'all brought up really good points. I will echo your sentiment, Zach. And like, if you're not a Lightning only shop, the previous approaches to Lightning before ARC, and I would argue Spark, were just not they just were not doable unless you were going to sacrifice tons of dev time on other things that you wanted to be building as well. So we've been in the same boat at Cake, thinking for 2-3 years now on how exactly we want to approach Lightning, not wanting to sacrifice everything else we do for it, but also not wanting to sacrifice the user experience. So I've been going back and forth between Arc and Spark and reading and talking to people and trying to figure it out and figure out the pros and cons of each. But I'll very quickly TLDR Arc. I think we've done this. I'm trying to think. I feel like we've done this before, some on the show. I think I briefly introed this, but so Arc, you asked what are virtual UTXOs, like Surfer. So the basic idea behind Arc is that it is a Bitcoin second layer in a sense, but essentially all it is pre-signed Bitcoin transactions. Anything you can do on Bitcoin, you can do in Arc, and there's a central server that coordinates those transactions to make sure that they abide by certain rules, but it's not custodial. You can always exit on chain. VTXOs is just the term used to describe the UTXOs that are within Arc because they're not published on chain in most scenarios. They never become actual unspent transaction outputs on Bitcoin. They remain virtual UTXOs, or VTXOs. So it's nice in the sense that it's essentially just Bitcoin done in a different way, where you're not constrained by the block times, you're not constrained by block space, but you have all of the same functionality as Bitcoin. So building things that already exist on Bitcoin on Arc are quite straightforward. That's one of the pros there, and that's why this integration between Arc and Bolts as the Lightning compatibility layer, for lack of a better term, makes so much sense. Bolts already has Lightning to Bitcoin swaps and have been killing it in the Lightning space for a long time as a result. And now with Arc, they do Lightning VTXO swaps. So when you're using Lightning, quote unquote Lightning, in an Arc wallet in the future, what you're actually doing is you're sending a VTXO from your Arc wallet to Bolts, the central entity. They are atomic swapping that for Lightning payment to whatever your destination is. And then they keep the VTXO. They can claim that later for on-chain Bitcoin if they want, or they can keep it as a VTXO if they want. That's up to them. So the privacy itself is a little hard to quantify. Within Arc, you could say the privacy is quite poor because a central entity sees every transaction, and there's a lot of potential for address reuse. It essentially inherits all of the privacy problems of Bitcoin, but so far without any of the privacy tooling of Bitcoin. So it's pretty poor when it comes to privacy within Arc. I think the key thing to remember, though, is it's still quite good when you're using it primarily with Lightning, where you're not going to be directly associating an on-chain transaction to your Lightning activity, which can be a privacy improvement. And in the future, it's very, very possible that people can build out pay join, coin join, silent payments. You can build out a lot of interesting things around Arc because it really is just Bitcoin. So that was I'm really bad at TLDRs, but the long version of what Arc was. But really cool to see it used well, a good proof, because I think a lot of the concerns with Arc so far have been that the idea sounds interesting, but almost none of it has been proven out at scale, specifically the liquidity requirements and other things. So this was a good proof that the system works, at least at that scale, and was pretty seamless on the merchant side from what it sounds like. So.
Do you know, Seth, like, when was it first, that white paper, when did that first come out? That was like a couple of years ago, maybe? Maybe less?
I'm going to look it up. It was more than that for sure. Okay. I think...
I feel old then.
Yeah,
Time
I think...
has compressed.
It's hard to remember exactly when that was, but it was by Barack a long time ago.
Okay.
I think it was probably 3 to 4 years ago now. But it's very hard to find that at the moment.
You can just ask ChatGPT or something and hallucinate an answer.
Yeah, exactly. It was a while ago, but that was also like that initial white paper was very sparse on details. So I would say probably the real work building it probably began like 2 years ago, and then the actual like Arc Labs work, I believe they started really only about a year ago. Okay, next up on Primal. I'm not sure if any of y'all have, but I'll go ahead and ask it in case you have. Topoda on Noster says, have you read Peter Todd's paper comparing PayJoin, Join Market, and Wasabi? I'll just stop there and see if any of y'all have read it. I have not.
No.
Okay. we'll save that one for later, Tapoda, and we'll try to circle back to it because I had not actually seen that, and it looks very interesting. So I'll try.
By the
to
way,
give that a read.
Seth, GPT says actually May of 2023, so I might not have been too off. Yeah,
interesting.
Just I feel my only point was with ARC that I actually think it's moving pretty quickly for this kind of proposal, like from white paper to implementation.
Yeah, for sure. That's a lot faster than I thought. I thought it was at least like 3 years ago that the white paper came out, but yeah. So 2 years from white paper to something being used in the wild.
2 years, yeah.
Yeah, really 1 year from ARC Lab starting to build on it. So
that's not bad.
Yeah, it is very rapid.
Especially having
I think it's
a whole
one of the benefits
conference.
of it being Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I think it's faster than Lightning was.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah, Lightning was a long time.
Yep.
Okay, next up, and this one may be a good one for you, Max. The whirlpoolstats.xyz site shows no activity whatsoever in Ashigaro Whirlpool in the last weeks. No new coins, no new cycles. Do you know why? Are you guys using it? Should we, the plebs, use it?
I don't know whether that Whirlpool Stats website is correct or not. I know that there's like a forked version of Clark Moody's dashboard, and one which I think is like UK specific or something like that doesn't show it for some sort of weird reason, and the other one does. So that should show you the correct amounts, but I can't comment past that. And then should you use it? I mean, that depends on your situation. Seth, I know you were a little bit hesitant. I dived in literally the day they went live and tested it live with Jordan, and we recorded live as we did it and set it up. So I use it. I think it's very, very useful for all the same reasons that I would have said Whirlpool with Samurai is useful, breaking links. I still think it's the best system from my nitwit opinion, but it's simple, it works, and you can then use those UTXOs without worrying about your plumber caving your head in or opening a lightning channel that could reveal information or whatever else. Past that, like, that is a decision that you have to make, and I would just say that any whirlpooled or any coin joined or mixed or any transactions that you send in that have gone through that process to any KYC service in the future, or that touches any type of regulated business, could potentially be a problem in the future. So just be thoughtful about how you label your UTXOs, be thoughtful about how you use them, and my advice is keep 1 foot in legacy, normie, cucked, gay system, and then 1 in like freedom money system, and don't let the 2 touch because it can cause you problems.
Seth, are you worried about the coordinator? Is that your criticism?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few reasons for sure. I'm generally just hesitant to trust centralized coin join tools when there's not a lot of knowledge about who's running them. Like the entirety of Sybil resistance is trust in the coordinator, because they can easily Sybil their own rounds if they want to, and we don't know who they are. Now, obviously, I'm not saying necessarily that they should reveal who they are. There are obviously downsides to that, but it just makes me play a little bit more patient waiting game with it. I mean, obviously it's been good so far, it's seemingly, but it's hard to really know what's going on. And I don't want to be like the FUD guy, but just with Samurai taking a plea deal and all that going down, and this still being up and seemingly having no hiccups, it's just always concerning to me.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable worry. It's a reasonable concern. The problem is they can't, whoever they are, reveal themselves, because that would be extremely dangerous given what's just gone down. So it's a difficult one. I don't know how you get around that. Like, is there a technical solution that going forward could be made, like multiple coordinators or some type of thing that could be done in the future where you'd look at it and go, okay, now I'm satisfied and happy to use this?
I think for me, it's just time, really.
Why though, Seth? Why time? I mean, because if let's say it was a Fed running the coordinator, I mean, you can have a very long running, coordinator. I don't think time is gonna solve that.
It's more just that if it is being run by someone malicious, or just even someone who makes a mistake and breaks something in the implementation and everything is linkable somehow, like I'm obviously not saying that it's true, but just that there's a lot of trust that does go into centralized coordinator models, that time gives more of a chance for something to reveal itself if there is a problem, or for it to be used in a case if it is some sort of a honey trap, or like that it just gives more time for something to become more clear. But it obviously doesn't mean that it will necessarily prove that it is trustworthy or not.
I think just some nuance, and Max was kind of saying this. I think it depends, like, what kind of privacy you're looking for, right? Because if you're looking for breaking, I guess if you're looking to like stop the ability for a counterparty in a transaction, like if you're paying someone for something to see your net worth, right, to see your UTXOs and to see maybe how much money you have at certain UTXOs, then who really cares if the coordinator is malicious, right? Because
good point.
The coordinator, might know about your transactions, but when you're transacting, you're out there in the world and you're transacting with other Bitcoin users or businesses, they are unable to see how much money you have and trace your transactions. And then the flip side is you can also you could do the opposite. You could do like a pay join type situation if you want to obfuscate that from the public looking at the blockchain, but not from your counterparty in the transaction, right, Seth? So you can kind of employ multiple tools and have different privacy for different scenarios. But if you're looking to just like hide it from the government and maybe it's and if you don't trust the coordinator, I think that's where things get a little dicey. Because we don't know who's running this coordinator.
Maybe a combination, and I think we've talked about this before, is like there are multiple tools that can be used, and there are some that are better to obfuscate your balances from people that you transact with. There would be some that would be better to use after Whirlpool if you were worried about it being run by a Fed or whatever. So it could be a combination where it's like, okay, you're putting a UTXO through there, and then once it's gone through Whirlpool, then maybe you're opening a Lightning channel and then you're doing your spends from there, or you're swapping into Monero with a smaller UTXO because it's splitting them down, and then you're using that. So there are things where you could protect yourself from the people you're transacting with, and also in the worst case scenario, if Whirlpool was run by Fed, then after you put it through Whirlpool, you could then, like I say, open a Lightning channel, use Monero, do whatever. So there are sort of ways, it's multiple jumps, but it depends how concerned you are and who you're concerned about. And at the end of the day, even though they're not being treated like this, coin joins are still legal as far as I can tell. So it's not like you're doing something illegal unless you literally have stolen that money. At the end of the day, you're not doing anything wrong. It's just layering these different techniques and using these different technologies in a way that you protect yourself from the people you need to. And normally, most likely for most of us, it's actually more dangerous paying your plumber if you've got a large balance and them coming back with a wrench and caving your head in, rather than actually having a concern with a 3-letter agency coming after you because you want to obfuscate your balance from other people. That's not illegal.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. I think those are very good points. I think the only like last thing I would leave is I guess I would just say be wary of trusting solely in it. Maybe that's a better way to summarize like my fears. Is I feel like before you could almost you still probably shouldn't have, but it felt more like with Samurai Waltz Whirlpool, I could trust pretty fully that privacy was ironclad and would remain ironclad. My concerns are more that I feel like you shouldn't trust it wholly right now, and you should be using other tools on top of that. And I think you nailed it on the head, Max. I think the only other thing I would say is just like pairing it with non-KYC means that even in the case that these mixes are unwound, there's not a direct tie to your identity.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things you should layer on top of it. Don't trust it on its own, especially until it's more proven. But I think y'all made really good counterpoints there.
One thing though, I just generally is I still think it's way too hard for most people, and I think that it's still difficult for companies like Foundation or Cake, right, to offer these kinds of tools because of the chilling effect from the samurai. It's everything that's happened with the samurai folks, and that's just unfortunate because legally, guidance wise from FinCEN, right, like there shouldn't have been any issues. Maybe I guess they're making the argument, and Seth probably knows a lot more about this than I do and has followed it much more closely, but making the argument that they kind of willingly aided or I guess knew about the illegal activity on their platform and didn't do anything to try to stop it. I think I'll let Seth clarify that in a second, but I still don't see a path like for Foundation to offer anything like this in Envoy, which is a shame because as Seth knows, 2 years ago we wanted to do this. We were planning on a Whirlpool service in Envoy and really wanted to make it like a one-click thing where you don't have to worry about pools, you don't have to worry about anything. You literally just click the one button in the app and it just automatically figures out the best way to do it and does it for you. We even had cool ways to do it, like if you had to keep the app in the foreground because you needed it. You can't really use the background activity on iOS. I played around with names like Sleep Cycle, where it's like it becomes an alarm clock at night. That's cool. So you keep it plugged in and on, and it just kind of runs, and then you can kind of check the time on your dim screen on your phone because it needs to run for a certain number of hours, per day. So the perfect time to do it is when you're sleeping. So we were really like, we're going to do all this, and I just don't see a path to do this, and I don't see a path to do it with. Sure, we need to do page join in the app. That's a big to-do list item. I'm sure Seth would agree, but like, I don't see a path for us to do anything more than that without seriously opening, myself and the other founders and execs to like, getting arrested. And that's crazy because I don't think it's illegal.
Yeah, it is crazy. I remember that conversation, and when that was happening, actually, my phone blew up for like 2 days. Like, our foundation said they're going to do this, and they got sponsor, and now they're not doing it. And I was like, yeah, I know, it would have been really cool, but you can sort of see why. And I was, having these conversations, and people were like, yeah, well, you've got to put yourself on the line. It's like,
Are you
okay.
talking about when? That was actually a very sad. You remember that, Seth, in our
Yes.
Telegram? That was actually a sad moment for me because I really, I still really, admire the Samurai guys and that, and I'm a user myself, and we also donated, I think, half a Bitcoin to their legal defense. That it was maybe over a year ago or something, but they got really mad at us, and they all the main guys, like they like cursed us out. They left the Telegram group. Like, I don't know why. And this was before any legal action took place, right? This was probably like 6 months before, 9 months before, maybe.
Yeah. No, I remember.
And I just kind of I kind of saw the writing on the walls there, and I just was like, we can't do this, like, unfortunately. And everyone. And I don't want to say like I feel vindicated now, because I don't think that's the right word, because I'm actually it's all just like a horrible feeling, right?
But you could say it was a reasonable. I remember at the time being like, look, if anyone has like a bounty on their head or risk of something bad happening, it is the Samurai guys, and I've always respected them for that, because I've had those conversations with them, and they were like, someone's got to fucking stand up. Like, you know, they were willing to deal with the shit that was potentially going to come. Sorry, my phone just went off there. And that's incredibly brave. I'm not brave enough to do that. And that's why when I was getting those calls, I was like, listen, prison's not fun, you know, and we've all got families and people we've got to look after, and that's the way it goes. But it doesn't mean it's any less sad, because it's a great bit of tech and it is great for freedom, and it is a shame that even though legally people can use it, realistically people can be put in prison for it, and that's very, very sad.
Yeah, definitely agreed there. It's definitely like the last thing that you want to be confirmed is fear of doing something landing you in jail, preventing you from doing something. But I think it definitely was a wise decision that we came to way back then, Zach, and we've had all the same conversations at Cake of thinking about when the case looked like it was going better, maybe we do start an integration and think on this. And I'll take the flack. I said, nope, it's just not a good idea. We gotta wait on this, guys. And again, it's like the worst thing to be confirmed, but I think there's also wisdom in not everyone choosing to be a martyr when it's not necessarily the right approach.
Seth, oh, sorry, go on.
No, you're good. I
was just gonna ask, have there ever been any like privacy type proposals where it involves swapping, like a service that would allow you to swap from Bitcoin to Monero and then back from Monero to Bitcoin, but like in same size UTXO chunks, kind of like the Whirlpool, principles?
There hasn't been anything super concrete around that. Part of the reason is because some entity still knows the link.
Right.
Theoretically. I mean, in theory, you could also like churn between Monero addresses between your like initial Bitcoin to Monero swap and then your outgoing Monero to Bitcoin swap. But the main problem has been that it's a tricky thing to actually implement perfectly. In theory, you could do it. I know like there's a swap platform called Houdini Swap that did that for a while, where you could choose to do your swaps through Monero so that it would send between exchanges using Monero. So neither exchange knew which Bitcoin incoming send was linked to which outgoing send. But the main problem for me is it's just very vulnerable to timing and amount heuristics, because there's not a crowd for you to hide in. It's one person sending Bitcoin in of whatever this amount is, and then one person getting Bitcoin out of the same amount minus fees at the end of the day. So it's very hard to do well because you don't have that anonymity set unless a ton of people are doing it.
Yeah, exactly. More as like a pool, like with rounds, kind of like a coin join thing, but maybe more decentralized, right? You could have you could probably do something where it's like more
Tornado Cash.
And then look how that went. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's why this stuff is also tough, because I think you can engineer something. You can build this. There's different ways to build it. With you do it just with Bitcoin, like with Whirlpool. You could do some Bitcoin Monero swap thing, but just as soon as there's some centralized party with some identity and then the legal aspect, and then it all kind of breaks down. And I think PayJoin is cool, but I still think that's also not, it's not, perfect in that sense either. So it's really tough.
A piece of the puzzle. Yeah, a piece of the puzzle. Yeah, I mean, the only last thing I'll call out is just like, you can't do something like Tornado Cash on Bitcoin. That's one of the downsides, and one of the reasons I wanted improvements to Bitcoin, so we can build more decentralized, more consensus level privacy, rather than having to rely on central coordinators or central infrastructure to be able to run these things. But yeah, I mean, Tornado Cash minus any token would be the like most defensible thing to build from like a legal perspective. There's just nothing to go after there really, at least in the US. But yeah, even that has gone okay so far. We'll see how appeals go for Roman, but yeah, it's pretty nuts. It's pretty nuts. Any last thoughts on that before we roll on?
No, but I do think in the comments, a couple folks are saying that the sound on YouTube is too low. Sorry, Max.
I'm sorry.
I don't know why YouTube and not the others?
Yeah.
We can turn up their speakers for this one, I think.
I'm
sorry. I don't know what to do about that.
It's okay.
Yeah. Maybe we can do a fake live stream.
Yeah, yeah, that might be the way
We'll
forward.
sort it out.
Yeah,
Really on the horn for it.
it will be fine. We'll have Q back next week.
We will.
He'll take the reins. He was actually
more
digging
practice.
us out in the comments, having a little whinge in there. Little fucker.
Well, he's off party
Yeah, exactly.
and not doing his job.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. He's the one who roped me into all this as well. He was like, "Come on, mate, yeah, we'll do a live stream." I was like, "Nah, hate the idea of live. We're gonna have technical problems. It's gonna no, it's all right. It's all right. I'll do it. I'll be in control." I'm like, "All right, well, if you're sure." And here we are.
All part of the plan. He baited you into it. Okay, last question from Noster, and then we can roll through some of our backlog. We promised we would get to the backlog, and we're barely going to get to the backlog.
Yeah.
But we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Okay. Last one, I will quickly answer. It's about cake, so I'll just go ahead and tackle it. I think it's pronounced Augie. Yeah, Augie asked, any updates on the feature request Max made for Cake Wallet, where there's a single QR code and the sender could send XMR, BTC, Lightning, etc., and the receiver can choose to receive whatever they want.
Great request.
Yeah, it is a great question, and it was Max who brought this up many moons ago, like before we even started Monero Monthly.
I think it was, yeah.
So yeah, we've been working on this a lot over the past month or so. It's something I'm calling pay anything. So it's not focused on the receive side, but the goal is that no matter what kind of a QR you scan or what address you put in, no matter what wallet you're in, one of two things will happen. So let's say you scan a Bitcoin QR with the amount, and you only have a Monero wallet in Cake Wallet. Will automatically create the swap for the right amount, pick the best rate, give you a very, very simplified kind of swap flow in the bottom sheet. So it's really straightforward, not all of the choices and selections, because we know exactly what you want to do already, where you want the funds to go, all of that. And you will be able to do a swap from Monero to Bitcoin for the exact amount really, really quick, really, really easy. It's like 3 taps total for sending from Monero to anything else or Bitcoin to anything else, etc. The other option, and this is one I wanted to make sure to bake in, is if you use multiple currencies in Cake, so you have a Monero and a Bitcoin wallet, you're in your Monero wallet and you scan a Bitcoin QR. If you have a Bitcoin wallet, you can just pay from Bitcoin. Like, we don't want to force you to go through swaps. So we also offer to let you switch to a wallet that would work for that payment. Right now, that's just any wallet that's of that cryptocurrency type. But in some upcoming versions, we're going to be able to do multi-wallet sync, balance caching, stuff that'll allow us to only show you wallets that actually have the amount you need to be able to send there as well. So we'll keep improving that. But the initial one will be really, really intuitive, super easy to use. And the goal is you can pay anything from any wallet. And we simplify it down way further than it is right now. So I'm excited to release that. That should be going live next week, actually. So we're almost there.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah, I think how that came up was like, how can you spend privately and like still send across to Bitcoin addresses and stuff like that. And seeing that in the wild, I think would be really useful. I just think like as a feature, just being able to scan anything and send anything just makes the flow so much slicker.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something I've been wanting for a very long time too. So it'll be good. On the receive side, you shouldn't really need to do anything extra because again, if the person is using Cake and you give them a QR from a different currency, they'll just get this new simplified pay anything flow, and it'll be super easy. But we have had this a non-pay feature for a very long time, which you can use as well for non-Cake users to be able to pay you, and you get whatever currency you want. It's a little clunky. We need to improve it, but that is an option there. But
Okay.
we're hoping that the pay anything will be a really good fit and let people, especially if you're only a Bitcoiner or you're only a Monero user, or you only deal in stable coins for whatever reason, like you can pay any QR no matter what without leaving Cake. So it'll be really, really nice. I'm excited for it.
Very nice.
Okay, backlog. We're gonna get into the backlog. So first question out of the backlog, I'm just gonna go in the order that Q gave them to me. So if we don't get to yours, blame Q&A. Definitely harass him for many reasons.
Just do it regardless.
It's true. He needs it. So first up is Avren from Noster. He asked, what is BitChat? What is the tech behind it? And what problem does or will it solve? What do you think, guys?
Well, I actually actually think this is a great opportunity for me to shill something that I just thought of.
Here we go.
Well, no. So actually, I don't know if I can be the best one to answer this, Seth. So maybe you or Max can. But isn't it Bluetooth based?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just Bluetooth local communication.
Well, we have Bluetooth on Passport Prime.
You do?
Yeah. That's how it all works.
Oh, Prime. Sorry, I thought you were talking about
Passport
Core.
Prime,
I was like,
maybe we should put BitChat on there. That'd be pretty cool.
Huh.
oh, you could do.
Secure open source, comms device.
What do you call the encrypted Bluetooth thing again? You had a name.
Quantum Link.
Quantum Link. That's it.
Yeah.
A quantum
Challenge
link.
Actually, though, is that you can only use Bluetooth on there if it's Quantum Link.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like written into the firmware that we have running on the Bluetooth chip, and there's not enough space for us to support without Quantum Link.
Mm-hmm.
But we were looking at another Bluetooth chip for the next rev that could have like double the space, so we could potentially load different firmwares onto it, and it'd be really cool to have like a BitChat on, like, not on your phone, but on Prime. That'd be awesome. Sorry, I just thought of that. So
It's true. I hadn't even thought that you can use Bluetooth for not just your phone to Prime sync. You could use it for other things like that. I'm sure people would get a little scared of that potentially, but as an option, it would be really cool.
Sorry, I didn't mean to it just jumped into my head.
No. We told you couldn't chill. You broke our one rule.
Yeah.
I don't know. All I heard was you shilling a cake feature a minute ago, and
That's true.
Seth broke the rule. No, sorry. I actually haven't used BitChat though personally. Have you guys used it?
I have a concern personally with anything that Dorsey touches. That's just my personal opinion. My spidey sense goes off on that one. So there's that. I also think the name just sounds like "Where's your bitch at?", which is, I think, a very bad bit of marketing. And no, I haven't used it. I'm quite happy with Signal. I don't really know what it does differently. I know Bluetooth and whatever, but do you know the technical side of it?
Yeah, I can chime in. If you don't want to learn any more about it, I'll just say it's stupid and should not have been created. But for those who do want to learn more about it, this thing has existed for a decade. Briar is the most well-known app that works exactly the same way.
Briar.
Yeah, there's nothing novel or interesting about this, and it did not need to be created. I much rather would have had Dorsey pour his money into something that's already existing, that's already used by journalists and dissidents, something like Briar. For some reason, he felt like he needed to create his own with a very interesting name, as you mentioned. There's two core pieces of it. So it launched as only a Bluetooth-only, essentially local mesh network chat app, which sounds interesting in theory and is, to me, is really useful for protests. Journalists and dissidents who need a way to communicate that doesn't touch the internet at all, that have like an extreme threat model.
Mm-hmm.
Or like the one kind of like Norma use case is for conferences and events is actually pretty interesting because you're only going to get people who are actually locally there in the chat. So it can help make like a hyper local chat environment for you to be able to discuss things, to get questions from the audience. Like it has interesting uses for that, like the concept as a whole. But as I mentioned, this has been possible with Briar and multiple other options for many years, and I do not like that BitChat has pretended like this is something new and novel. It is not at all.
Okay.
The other weird thing that they just added, and that's even more confusing, is that it is now a Bluetooth local mesh chat app, but now it's also just a regular chat app, but it uses Nostr for some reason for chat. It is indent encrypted from my understanding, the Nostr chat portion of it, I hope, because Nostr DMs specifically have been absolutely heinous when it comes to privacy. Very, very bad. So I haven't looked into exactly how they did the Nostr integration there, but now they're just trying to be just another messaging app, but with like an IRC-like UI. Yet again, I have no idea why this needed to be created.
Yeah.
We have Signal, we have Simplex, we have so many options. It's just does not need to exist. But that's the general idea. I do think like the local Ubuntu thing is an interesting idea, but again, we've had Briar and other options for years. So it's odd. I have no idea why this was launched. It seems like there's going to be like eCache as a core part of it. Which, but
it's all it's gay. We'll move on from this. I'm bored of it.
Yeah, I kind of share your concerns, Max, with anything Jack touches.
Yeah, I don't trust it.
Unfortunate.
I don't like how it moves. It has a hue around it, a bit of a glow, and I don't like it.
I'm still upset about BitKey, not from like a competitor perspective. I mean, you guys know I did that blog post a few years ago, but I even was on a panel with Seed Signer, the man.
Yeah.
And
Ceci the man.
And Ceci and Max, who leads the BitKey project at Block, and at the Vegas conference, and I still have so many concerns.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from the privacy perspective, just they know every single user's public keys, but even more than that, they're a co-signer in all the transactions. It's not like they're just storing, like the third, the third multi-sig key as a recovery method. They're actually actively, automatically signing transactions below a certain value threshold that you can set in the app. And that just terrifies me, because they basically control two of the three keys, one in the mobile app and one on the server, and there's no privacy whatsoever. And the more big keys that are sold, the more people using it, right? They just have all that information. You don't need to have it all. So that plus like the ledger recover stuff, I mean, just talk about like horrible privacy control over the funds if desired. Just really, really bad stuff that should never have been built.
I'm hesitant to think that he's malicious. And Jack, since I know that you're listening, I'm sorry. It just seems like he's naive.
He did follow me on X before he unfollowed everyone.
Yeah, okay. Same. I've chatted with him as well, like in DMs. Like I've had conversations with him. I really don't think he's malicious, but I think he is a bit naive and just trusts what other people say is the right solution to things. So I think that that's kind of what happened here too. It's probably somebody wanted a Bitcoin specific chat app, because of course we need a Bitcoin specific chat app.
My dad's in the live chat saying, taps the sign, Jack is a globalist liberal cuck. Thanks, John.
I mean, Seth, I go back and forth on it too. Because with BitKey, I think what happened was he wanted to do all this cool stuff, announced it open source and all this stuff, and then just gave it to the team at Square, or I guess it was still called Square back then, I think. And I sat down a few years ago with one of the first software guys for BitKey, and he said, well, all the Cash App customers are used to having their data collected, so why wouldn't we just do it with BitKey? That was literally what he said. Like, they don't care, because they're coming in not from a Bitcoin philosophy mindset, right? Or a freedom tech mindset. You're coming in from the Cash App or just normal, fintech, company type mindset. And then those people are put on the project, and they convince themselves, well, we don't need this open source license. We can collect all this data. We could do this architecture. And I do know most of the BitKey people are gone who were originally on it. And I think they're trying to clean it up. It's open source now properly, which is great. But I still can't get over deplatforming the president. I can't get over that. I just can't. I mean, I just can't get over it, right? Because it's your company. That's a decision that goes up to the CEO, right? You don't have some intern do it.
No.
So I just can't get over that. I think it's crazy.
It is also, although I completely don't agree with it in any way, shape or form, and it should never have been done, it's also quite funny, just because it would annoy Trump so much, and that would be quite a funny thing to watch. So I'm in two minds on that one. Wrong, but funny.
And then also, you guys know I care a lot about all the COVID stuff, right? And
Oh yeah.
all that deplatforming as well.
Gross.
Censorship is just way too much for me.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
And I just can't get over it, right? Like no matter what, I'm just not going to get over that.
No.
Yep. I can definitely understand that. That is probably the most the most useful one to think maybe there is some malice there, but yeah. Okay. Next up, we got 4 minutes left. Let's see what we can roll through. We've got Uber Hoddle on Noster, and he asked, "What flavor of Linux is the most privacy protecting straight out of the box?"
Ooh. What about cubes? A lot of people who I speak to who are particularly serious about security seem to like cubes.
So it depends specifically.
I hear you laughing.
I'm laughing because it's like the company I worked at previously, the CEO used cubes.
Okay.
And it was like, you have to be like a masochist. Like you have to just want to be suffering the entire experience. Maybe it's gotten better since then. This was like 7 years ago,
No.
right?
No, it's not. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you're going for. So when it comes to privacy specifically, Tails is going to be by far the best because it's a Tor-only operating system. But it's not. Tails isn't really built for you to use it all the time. So there's not really enough context in the question to know exactly what use case you're going for. I think that you just need temporary, very private, very ephemeral OS. Tails is fantastic for that. Keep it on a flash drive, boot into it whenever you need, do what you need.
Sorry, Seth. You don't have to keep it on a flash drive.
Oh wait,
I think we're gonna. I think we're gonna be able to keep it on Passport Prime.
You can boot off Prime.
Yeah, we're gonna be able to boot off Prime.
Holy hell!
I think we're gonna do Tails on Prime, but
nice.
that won't be the first release, but it'll be an option for I think later in the year.
Okay.
Anyway, that's fun, right? Okay, continue.
That's badass. I never even thought about that.
I know. We're having yeah.
Okay, so yeah, Tails on Prime is your most private option. Yeah. If you're going for security with the possibility of privacy, Cubes is the best option. But when I say best, I mean the most secure. I do not mean you should use it. I'm extremely hesitant to recommend these hardcore Linux OSs because you are going to experience pain and you need to be quite technical. I wish that was not the case, but for most people, these are just not options.
To take a step back though, just from like an architecture perspective, I do think this is an open question still, like from especially desktop OS and man, I keep shilling. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry.
We knew he can't help himself.
Yeah, but I'm weaving it in. It's great.
Yeah.
So this is, I think, all OSs, desktop class OSs, have a problem with like unable to do real kind of. I mean, it could do process isolation, but in terms of like the OS managing granular permissions, right? Like you know that any app can see the clipboard on any desktop OS, right? For example. Apps can interact with each other. I think the mobile OSs, like iOS and Android, are much more hardened than the desktop OSs. I think the answer for me might be just use Graphene because you're benefiting from Android process isolation and the operating system granularly managing the permissions of everything. But then you also get the open source, reproducible aspect of it. And I think it's a more secure environment than what you're going to find on a desktop. It has all the secure boot stuff built in. It has all the benefits of Android. I think iOS is also really secure, though of course we don't really know, right, because it's not open source. But and that's also why we were the new OS for Prime, because we think that there needs to be like a next gen operating system that can actually have full isolation for every single app and really great granular permissions management where the OS does all that, and you're not really going to find that on Linux. And so what things like Cubes do is they put each app into its own like container so that each thing is isolated, and it's a nightmare if you need to work like across them, but at least like each thing is kind of artificially isolated.
Yeah, sandboxing is it called?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
This is a
Is that-
Tuesday morning TikTok, motherfuckers.
Oh.
Sorry, John. We'll start wrapping it up, mate.
I have one more quick comment on that. I think the thing that I will remind people of is that the best privacy you can achieve is the privacy you can actually achieve.
It's such a Seth for privacy thing to say.
I know, but I mean, like, I think
No,
some
it's true.
people
It's
go too
100%
far
true.
and they don't achieve privacy because they try tails or they try cubes and they're like, dear God, I can't do this. And then they just go back to their old ways.
Mm-hmm.
When in reality, a lot of people can get much better privacy by using something like Graphene OS with place services and use a VPN always, or using something like Mac OS or iOS, unfortunately, can be quite privacy preserving if you take a few steps to make those more privacy preserving. And you have to think too, how much of my activity am I able to do in a more privacy preserving way? If it's a tiny little bit of that in cubes or tails versus almost all of your activity in a more privacy preserving way, if not perfect, that often can be better for most people. So it's always a very personal question and hard to answer for people, but
That's fair. Well, look, we have run just over time, so I just want to say thank you to both of you for joining. Thank you to everyone in the live stream for joining. Thank you for all the questions. I know we only got to, was that one or two? I lost track, but of the backlog. So we still have like 50 questions, and we will continue to go through them. We will be back at 9 a.m. Eastern or 2 p.m. London next week and every week. So thank you to everyone. Thank you to all the ungovernables, and it's fun as always. Any signing off messages from you, Zach or Seth?
This was fun. Thanks for inviting me. I'm happy to sub in for Q. Hope I didn't do such a good job that you want to invite him back.
Well, I don't know. Honestly, you might be more fun to spend time with. So me and Seth will just have a conversation off air, and maybe we'll boot him. He's so unreliable anyway.
That's because I don't have as many friends as he has.
It's hard to.
You know, I get so excited to be with
how about we just have Q run the live stream, but we don't give him a mic?
Oh, that's
And then we
nice.
give you the mic, Zach. How about that? That's
Yeah,
different for us.
like a little
That's very
back office sort of thing. I like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Lock him in a little network closet.
Perfect.
lovely. All right. Well,
guys.
yeah, thank you.
We pull the plug in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stay ungovernable.